Welcome to Meet Me in the Penthouse. I am Amy, along here with my sister Molly. We help high achieving women increase their income, but most importantly, their impact. We are neighbors, sisters, and business partners. We have built 8-figure businesses together, traveled the world together, raised our children together, mentored thousands of men and women together. And it's all because we have a penthouse mindset. We aim for the top, and we show others how to empower themselves to peel back the layers and truly step into their greatness and calling. Welcome to Meet Me in the Penthouse.
Hello, everybody. This is Molly Croker, your host today, and I'm here with my good friend, Tina Schwahn, as in the Schwann's man. Schwann's man. That's how you'll remember her name, though. But we are here at Meet Me in the Penthouse because we are all about high-performing women who not only want to make a massive income, but a massive impact. And that is Tina. And I'm a storyteller, Tina, so I always love, how do we meet? We met years ago at a CPA event. And I'm not a CPA, neither is Tina. And so funny that we were both there with our little booths for our network marketing companies. And that's how we met. And we tried to set our kids up. Like, you have a Sam and I have a Sam, and they're both tall. And we just thought, this is a match made in heaven from two moms with two tall children.
Very tall. Very tall children.
And here we are, still friends. Our kids have never met, and it's all because they're dating other people. But that's what I love about this, is we've still stayed connected. But it was your energy and your enthusiasm that drew me into your web. So I love that. I always say I only surround myself with people that vibrate high, and you do. So let's just get right after it. And
let's do it.
I love where you are in life, but I love where you've been. So this isn't your first rodeo owning your own business. Take us back to your very first, because I think it's also important for people to know you can pivot wherever you are in life, and you've done it well and many times. So, your first career, where was that? Where were you living? All the things.
Great. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your show today. I'm really honored to be here. And yes, I love our meet cute story. And yeah, our kids never got together, but we did. So that's all.
We did. Exactly.
But no, so my degree was in music education. And I've always been a singer. I played piano forever. And that was all I knew how to do. So that's what I majored in college, right? It was like, I had zero guidance. So I was like, well, I love this. Let's do this. So,
okay, but what did you, because I think this is good, because obviously you and I have kids that are coming out of college, and we know kids going into college. What did you think you were going to do with music education? I mean, did you think you were going to teach, or you did? Okay.
Yeah, I thought I would teach, but I was silly. At the age of 22, I was silly and naive. And so I wanted to stay in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's where I grew up, and that's where I went to college. And at the time, a long, long time ago, there were only 3 high schools. And so someone was going to have to either retire or, pass on. And if I was going to teach high school music, so it just wasn't a realistic thing. But I was also brought up in a very family that did not believe in leaving or branching out in any way, shape, or form. I was the black sheep of my family for sure, because I wanted more, So anyway, long story short, I did not get a teaching job in Lincoln, Nebraska. So I got a job at a place called Banker's Life of Nebraska, which is now emeritus. So,
oh my gosh, yes.
Yes. And oddly enough, I was a dental claims examiner.
But not music education to use, which again, it's all good, right? You had to start somewhere.
I could sing while I was doing it. It was great. No.
And I love that. I didn't even know that was Emeritus's name before. So this is educational for me. So here you are working claims.
Right. And so I just I had several little small shifts within all of that. So I started out working nights, and then I was substitute teaching, still trying to teach during the day. And then I worked from 3:30 to 1:30 a.m. Monday through Thursdays.
Showing up as throwing up. We hope you weren't throwing up. Showing up as a fabulous substitute teacher on 3 hours of sleep. So
right. And that was back in the day when you had to sit and wait by the phone for a actual phone
I
call.
remember these days. Yeah. Hoping to God you got one because subs got paid a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did that. And then finally, I kind of worked my way up the ladder at my day job or my night job, I guess. And then it became my day job. And I ended up doing that corporate type of thing, corporate America, for 22 years.
Oh my
I
God.
worked at several different businesses, but always in kind of client service and project management arenas. And I was fine with it, but it wasn't my passion at all. Like I wasn't happy doing that at all.
So
So,
what were you doing to feed your passion? Were you,
oh,
obviously music is your passion. So were you like playing in concerts? Were you teaching piano to little kids when you weren't at your day job? Like, what did that look like? Because we're always big on like, what is
yeah.
feeding your passion? So, what were you doing for those 22 years? And
Yeah.
maybe having some kids in there, obviously, but
Yeah, there were kids, there was
yeah.
stuff. But yeah, there was life. For early on, I was doing a lot of shows. Like, so Pinewood Bowl in Lincoln, Nebraska they have a
Yes.
great summer musical. And so I did that a few years, like did Jesus Christ Superstar and
Oh my gosh, that is,
Carousel. It was fun. I did all of that kind of
you
stuff.
were
And
acting and in plays and musicals. Do you have
oh
a
yeah,
preference for like which one you like better?
what do you mean?
Do you prefer a musical to be in a
Oh yeah,
musical or prefer a play?
I'm a musical nerd.
Okay, yeah, I figured so. Me too. Me too. So acting, having fun, the lead. Were you the lead in any of these?
No, you know what? Oddly, I really enjoy being in the chorus. Like
Okay. I
one of
love
the
that.
swings, that gets to be on stage all the time, but you're different characters all the time. So I enjoyed that. I didn't want to, and working full time and doing that was, that's a lot. Those people that do that, go you, because it's a lot. It's really a lot of work. But anyway, and then I was the choir director at my church that I grew up in. I was the choir director there for those 22 years as well. So
Of course you were. And of course the church you grew up in, because why would you leave, right? Why would you leave and do anything different?
I know.
Black sheep you. So keep the status quo. Okay, we're there for 22 years. And something magical must have happened at 22 years because something big happened.
Yeah, I got divorced.
There we go. So we pivoted and we left Lincoln.
That was a big pivot. That was a big, well, I got divorced before that. But anyway, yes, a big pivot was when I met my current husband, Brian, and he lives up here in Omaha, in the Omaha area. And so we dated long distance for a short time. And then we got married.
And so you
And I
had to move
moved
to
up
Omaha.
here and I kept my corporate stuff going on. But my husband was like, you're not happy. I can just tell you're not happy doing this. What do you want to do with your life? Like, what do
Oh,
you
I
want to do when you
love
grow up?
that.
Right. And I was 42 at the time. And I said, you know what? My favorite night of the week is choir night. I love directing choir. It's just, I am such a geek about it. And it's my favorite thing to do I don't love singing solos. I just love the collaboration that
Yeah.
happens within a choir. And there's just nothing like it. Like you all breathe at the same time, your heartbeats sync up. And it's so satisfying to take a group of people, whether it's a bunch of 80-year-olds at a church, choir
Oh,
or kids or whatever. It's so satisfying to take them through that process. I love the process of learning a piece of music from scratch and this was before, you had recordings you could listen to and all of that. You literally had to figure it out and read the music and learn what it was supposed to sound like. So I said, you know what? I think I want to go back to teaching. And he's like, let's do it.
and I'm assuming, because I just met with a friend about this, I'm assuming a big pay cut.
Yeah.
I mean, significant, I'm sure. So
Yes, it was. And I had to
sometimes,
go back to school. I had to go back because I had let my certification go. So I
okay.
went back to school and redid like a student teaching thing. Like, and I honestly thought I was going to teach elementary music. I thought, well, that'll be fun. I'll just go and
Yeah.
we'll play little games and we'll sing and we'll dance. It'll be great. And then once I got certified again, I started subbing again. And I got an assignment at Millard South High School
So a big old high school.
for a
Wow.
sub job. And I was scared to death to go in there with the high school kids. Like,
Oh my gosh.
you
And
know,
they loved
so,
you.
and I went in, and my husband was like, just go. They're still kids. They're just big. They're just bigger.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Which is so true. So I went in that day, and music teachers, when they get a sub, they don't expect anything out of them because they don't expect a person to know how to teach music. Usually it's a sub that was a math teacher or a social studies teacher, something like that. So they usually just have them do something else, like listen to music or, do some sort of thing like that. And I showed up and I was subbing for the assistant choir director. So the main choir director was there. And once he figured out that, oh, she knows what she's doing, and I had the job for 2 days. And so he said, why don't you take the music home and tomorrow you can teach? You can actually teach.
What a gift. Like
I know.
22 years later. And I want everyone to know this, that sometimes pursuing your passion, doesn't always look like more money in like
Mhm.
instantly. You're like, wow, what is a way, we always say, not make just a significant income, but impact. You're like, I'm here, I'm pursuing my passion, and it involves a pay cut. Okay.
Yeah,
That might happen, and it might not happen in the time frame. Yours was 22 years.
right. I was brand spanking new baby teacher at the age of 42.
And humbling. I mean, I'm
It was.
sure a lot of your peers were much younger than you.
Right. But anyway,
I love this.
that day set me on the path because he's the choir director, the main choir director, Jason Stevens, shout out to him.
I love that.
He said, you know what? This job is opening. The person's leaving. That's my assistant. You should apply.
And that was it. I mean, a long-term sub turned into your,
Yeah. So I was there for 5 years. And then when my kids got to high school, and I did like, I had like everything had changed. Show choir in particular. If anybody's
oh,
familiar with show choir,
I kept calling it side note in high school. Sam was seeing, talking, whatever the words are that you use when at that day and age to a girl that was in show choir. I kept calling it a choral concert. And he was like, stop doing that. I'm like, stop doing what? It's not a choral concert. So, show choir for all of you people that have been snoozing through these last 2 decades of life. So,
yeah.
show choir is serious business.
Oh yeah,
It's a
it was.
sport.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge production now. Back when I graduated from high school and we had it swing choir, and it was
Yes.
18 kids swaying and using ladders and little, stools or whatever. But show choir is a whole nother thing. So I had to literally go to show choir camp to learn what it was and how to do it. But I learned a great lesson there, and this is a writer downer. So
I love it. Get your pen and paper out, people. Writer
So
downer.
there was a gal there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so like a fish out of water. I'm 42 years old. I haven't done this for 22 years. I don't know how to create a show choir show, let alone build a show choir program because the program was not in great shape at that point. And she goes, you know what? Just picture what you want and make it happen. I was like, but how?
You know what? That is something that is so, that is what we all want. We always are like, I'll do it, but how do I do it?
Right.
I want the steps. And here's the thing, blind faith. And I don't just mean in a religious sense, I mean in a spiritual sense as well. Faith is, I don't see the next step, but I'm going to trust that it's there and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep taking inspired action. So, what was your action? What did you
My
do?
action was just to dig in and figure it out. It's that book, Marie Forleo's book.
Yes.
Everything is figure
Figure
outable. It
outable.
truly is. I mean, this was before her book came out, but it was like, okay, well, we need money. How do we get money? Well, I'm going to have to host a Show choir competition. Oh, all the competitions are taken up. Well, let's do one for middle school then. Okay, well, let's do one for middle schoolers because there wasn't that many at that point. That'll raise some money. Let's do workshops. Let's do that. That'll raise some money. Nobody wants to buy your frickin' pizza and cookie dough, right? But they'll come to your,
I love it. You're like, listen up, people. Everyone will come to a show choir event, but don't make me buy
so
your
we did
crappy
that.
cookies.
We had a thing called, this was the cutest thing ever, Millard Middle School Idol. That was when,
Oh my gosh, how cute is
American
that?
Idol was huge. And these middle schoolers would come in and they'd just be like singing Stevie Wonder songs and stuff. It was unbelievable how good they were. So,
And you know what? And you had no idea, but you were just like, no one's going to die. We're going to figure this out, and this is what we're going to do, and it's going to be amazing. And you did exactly what she told you to do.
yeah,
Picture what you want,
yeah,
and it's
and make it
happening. And
happen.
so it did, because I know you're not going to toot your horn, so I'll toot it for you. But I mean, Millard is a huge, huge class A school, big, huge class, and also a really successful program now that you created, but then you went on to like judge competitions,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is so awesome. So you're pursuing your dream, and it's like you're loving it. Life is awesome, all the things. And then what? What was your next pivot?
Well, I pivoted within that realm. I pivoted to middle school because my kids, my own children, were going to high school and I could not be at a different high school, 24/7 while they were having their own things. So I pivoted and I actually opened a middle school and same thing. Picture what you want, make it happen, right? So I got it was my own program and it was stellar. It was phenomenal. And I loved it. I love teaching middle schoolers because I'm just a big weirdo. So the weirder you are, the more they
The more
like it,
well received.
you know?
Yeah. They're like, she's just like me. And I love also, I just love the joy in middle school when some people are like, oh my Lord, middle school. I'm like, you're like, I loved it. Bring it on. It was fabulous. So
I did
you
love
went
it.
to
And
middle
the
school.
kids that didn't fit in elsewhere would fit in my classroom in music because, maybe they're not athletic or, they don't do great in other activities or whatever, but they can fit in with the music people. And that's true of band and choir. And that's why I'm always like, people, you got to keep your kids in music
Yes.
as
Well,
long as you can.
I'm a daughter of a thespian, so I
Yes.
get it. I love it. But my husband and I, jokingly, he's like, "Oh, you went to such a big class A school, and I was a big band dork." And I'm like, "Well, you were a smaller class, and when you're in a small town, you do it all." But
Yeah.
truth be told, being on the other side, people that now at this point in my life, I wish I could play. I've forgotten how to play the piano. I would give
Mm,
anything to play the guitar, to be able to sing, to be able to
yeah.
do any of those things. So, all of you listening out there that have an inkling of music or playing an instrument in your genes, keep doing it, keep showing
Yeah.
up, keep practicing because it does pay off. It
It
does.
does. It does.
And so, you,
COVID happened and singing was a super spreader activity. So it didn't work out so well. And it just kind of stole my joy for teaching, even after we came back to the classroom. I mean, teaching on Zoom
with a mask on just didn't work very well.
just wasn't
It's
great.
hard, a little
And
difficult.
yeah, and then when we went back, and yes, we had to have masks and they had to be 6 feet apart. And they even made us sing outdoors at first when we got back. So I did that for 2 years and I was dragging, just dragging. And like I said, I had no joy anymore. And I was dressing like just a complete and utter slob. I mean, I feel like we all during that time were like, oh, well, it's okay to wear pajamas to the store now. I have a mask on. Nobody knows who I am. It's fine.
You were not wearing pajamas to teach in. Please tell me that.
No, no. But I was wearing jeans because then it was like, well, we don't have a dress code now. So I was wearing jeans. This was my uniform. Jeans, Converse tennis shoes. Nothing wrong with any of this, by the way, folks. Shirts, like graphic tees. Well, I'm wearing graphic tee right now. The graphic tees that said like spread kindness like confetti or, those kind of
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
messages. And ratty sweaters and my hair in a messy bun. That was every single day. It was just
I cannot picture this woman because I've never met her. I do not know of her because that I've only known you as this put together, super fun, energetic 60-year-old. I can't believe you're 60. I mean, you're so fun and it's your energy. It's through the roof. So, Tina, did you feel like you said 22 years into your career, your husband said to you, you're not happy. Like you're not happy. So are you back there to square one again? Like, wow, I'm just not happy. So now what?
so then he and I had another talk.
That
And
good
oddly,
man.
I had built my income back up, to
Yes.
where we needed it to be. And he just was the same. It was like almost like deja vu, same conversation. Tina, you're not happy. What are we going to do? Because I had started so late, I couldn't get that killer retirement plan.
Yeah.
Unless I worked another 9 years, unless I taught another 9 years, which I would have been like 68 or something like that. And I was like, I just can't envision myself being like, jazz hands, come on, all these things. So he was like, it's silly. We're just going to pull what you have out and then figure it something out. Just leave at the end of the school year. And so that's what I did. And I had no plan.
You literally had no plan. I love this. Okay, this is so good for so many of you listening because you're sitting there with no plan right now. And
Mhm.
just again, everything, we always say this in our coaching program, but everything always works out for me in the most miraculous ways. God goes before me, making my ways pure. Isn't it wonderful?
Mm, yeah.
It's wonderful. So here you are, no plan. What happened next?
Okay, so what happened next? I really did flounder for a while because that was my identity.
Yeah.
Because not only was I a quote unquote music teacher, I was a choral conductor, which is kind of more serious, right? And I had
Yes.
gotten my master's degree along the way in there. And so I really felt like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But I sort of had some trauma surrounding that. And I couldn't even sing anymore. Like I couldn't do anything with music. It just gave me anxiety and I felt terrible. And so I was like, well, I can't, people were like, well, go out and clinic, do clinics
Right.
and things like that. And I was like, no, I can't. I got to pivot. I got to do a complete pivot.
Here we are
As you
again.
know, I was with a direct sales company at
Yes.
the time, and I thought, well, I'll try this. I'll try and make this work full time. And then about a month in, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this full time, which was actually a smart move because they're no longer in business, that particular
Right.
company. But along the way, though, I had my 40th class reunion, and some of my girlfriends were like, Tina, you're so good, like on your Facebook Lives and stuff with my little business. Why don't you start a blog? And I was like, I don't even know what that means.
You're
Oh,
like,
how
I'm
does
not
that work?
25. I
I'm
don't know
like,
what a
how
blog
does
is.
that work? And
Yes.
so my daughter's a tennis player, and she had a tournament in Georgia. And so we did a road trip down to Georgia. She was supposed to play tennis, and it rained. And we're renting this it was a tiny home Airbnb. It was cute as could be. It was up in the
Oh,
mountains, blah, blah, blah. And so we're in the rain, stuck inside, and I get on the computer and I see this how to do blogs and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what's this? And so I took a course and I learned how to build my website and I learned how to brand myself. And I didn't really know what the heck I was doing, but I knew what I wanted to do and I was going to make it happen.
I love that. And honestly, this is for so many women that listen to this out there. Like, I made it happen. Growth mindset.
Yeah. So, yeah, I started a blog and I started with another company that was clothing based, that was also direct sales. But as soon as I started it, I knew I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, it just didn't fit. It just didn't fit. It's a great company, but it didn't fit what I wanted to do. And so then I was like, okay, well, what does a personal stylist do? Because that's what I want to do. I had people contacting me that needed help with their wardrobe, with their mindset, with their image, with all these things. And a lot of them were plus size, a lot of them were petite or petite and plus size, and they had limited budgets. So they couldn't afford to buy from me with the company I was with, and we didn't have clothes for them because they were in
Right.
those extended sizes. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna learn what I need to do and start my own thing. And so I decided to become a personal stylist. And I took a course about how to be a personal stylist from these two wonderful, amazing human women in one in London and one in LA. And they had this global style academy, and it was intense. It was like 3 days a week on Zoom, learning everything about the fashion industry and how
And I
to.
bet you had to invest in yourself, right? I mean, it wasn't free.
No, 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 no.
So taking a chance and saying, I'm going all in. And so a lot of times we get those money paradigms where we're like, oh, wait, I don't want to pay. But I'm like, you know what? Circulate your money. It will come back to you. It is an education. We certainly, none of us ever said that with our college degrees or your master degree or mine as well. I never was like, I just don't know if this is worth another $100,000. But I love that you invested in yourself in a course
Yeah,
and you got educated.
right, right. And
Again, you've already invested in the blogging and now you've invested in the personal styling, and here you go.
yeah, and literally, Amy, it's funny you say that because I called you Amy.
I
Sorry.
always, are you kidding me?
Good
I answer.
Lord.
I'll throw on my
I knew you
heels.
first.
I'll throw on my heels and you can keep calling me Amy because that is a compliment. But yes, we always answer to we do. They'll be like, hey, Molly, hey, Amy. It's all good.
No, but anyway, I just did that today. I just took a big financial leap today in my business.
And what did
So,
it feel like? Were
and you
you,
say that
were,
scared,
exactly.
scared me to death. I had like heart palpitations. I was afraid to talk to my husband about it, but you know what? I'm at a little pivot, another pivot moment at where a tipping point at which I can't do everything all by myself anymore.
There
And
we go.
so I have,
Because you had vision about
I,
this.
yeah, yeah.
And so here we go, the next pivot. And what is it that you love to do? For people that don't know you, tell us about your brand. Tell us about
Mm,
what
yeah.
you do for women and men. How do you make them feel? It's all about the feeling, right? But what is it that you love to do? And who is the right person to work with you?
Well, like I said, I'm a personal stylist, and here in Omaha, Nebraska, that's not a common thing necessarily. And it's not like New York and LA or London or whatever, but I love it. I work with primarily business leader, entrepreneurial people, mainly women, and I always say, and a few worthy men who I
I love that. A few worthy men. Yep.
But really, I just help. It's so much more than just helping people get dressed. I mean, I think that's the biggest message, and that's the biggest learning it's been for me. Because I started out with my message was I help women clear the chaos, learn to love the skin they're in, and have fun getting dressed. And I have recently just completely revamped that because I've outgrown it. And
Oh,
my
new
clients
level, new devil. Here we go.
have outgrown that. So now my tagline, I'll just say it, is I empower brilliant women to show up, speak up, and shine through the transformational power of personal style.
Ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
dang. Wow. I mean, like, that's jaw dropping. That is powerful. I love it. I
So,
love
and
it.
that is truly every woman that I work with has a story, like we
Mhm.
all do, of course, right? But has a story about her style and her fashion and whatever it was. I just worked with a gal the other day, and she grew up in a parochial school and they wore uniforms all their life, and she never got a chance to learn during those formative years what she liked, right? And then
Yes.
so now she's like, whoo, let's go wild. She's like 40 years old now, and she's like just figuring it out and, having guidance and whatever from me. But I went and cleared out her closet with her because she also had she lost a lot of weight. And that's another thing that I run into a lot is people who have had a shift in their weight, one way or the other. And learning to dress that new figure is daunting.
That's I mean, a
Yeah.
huge need in today's world.
So yeah, I basically, we go in with building a workable wardrobe is what's always in my mind. It's not just let's clear out all the junk that doesn't fit and
Mhm.
you don't like anymore. There's much more to it. It's how are you going to use all these things and make, not have to make a huge investment. You don't have to, a lot of people are like, let's just burn the house to the ground and rebuild it. And I'm like, no, let's see what's in here. Let's see.
Yes.
And then we go through it and figure out what else they need to add back in. And then we go shop and it's super fun and they try things on. And then we put it all together into a wonderful wardrobe and they feel like a brand new woman,
Yes.
that's the thing. It's that transformational moment that I see in people that light up then once they get clothing that actually not only fits their body, but it fits their life, so
Right.
it's
Right. And we both have feminine and masculine properties. And I told somebody this just getting back from Peru and being so immersed in the feminineness of Pachamama and feminine power and straight to Vegas where I go from hiking and not showering to heels and a gown
wow.
and it is powerful. There is something about I love my workout gear clearly, but there is something powerful about putting on the most sexy, beautiful dress that I could even possibly find and the heels, and I just felt magical, like I was floating.
I
And
saw you and it was gorgeous.
thank you. Thank you very
Yes.
much. But I can only imagine getting to do that every day for women, like every single day, and a few worthy men. So, I mean, your ideal client, you kind of explained who it is. Do you work with any level of age? I said not your age, but your level. Do you work with any level?
I do. I've worked with women all the way from age 20 to 75
Okay.
and everyone in between. But it's generally those women that are in that middle level.
Yeah. Yes.
So
That
from
middle.
maybe 45 to 65 is kind of my sweet spot, right? When the 20-year-old called me, I was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?"
Did I teach you in middle school? Okay, yes, I am equipped. I am equipped. But I think it's just so neat to see you. I mean, you're so radiant anyway, and I've gotten to see you through several of these pivots and been
Yeah,
there with you. But the thing that stands out the most about you, Tina, is just your love for people. You make people feel so loved and so seen, and that is a gift. So no matter what you do, I always knew you're going to be successful, but especially in this where losing a lot of weight or putting on a lot of weight or these years where our bodies are changing to let somebody kind of into that and be like, all right, here we go. You're going to
yeah, menopause
help
is
me
fun.
figure out how to dress. But it is powerful. And you're one of the most equipped people that I know doing it. Can you work with somebody virtually? Because I know people are going to be
Yes.
curious. Okay.
Yes. In fact, I worked with someone in Estonia, which I had to look up on the globe.
Oh, I love that. This is
So
so exciting.
she found me in a Facebook group of all things. I made a comment somewhere and she messaged me. And she's an American living in Estonia. And yes, we did Zoom calls and I learned how to shop in euros and learn the sizing and all of that for luckily I have a good friend from Ukraine, so she knew a lot about she helped
Isn't
me
it
out.
great? Because
And
everything's
so
always
it's
working out for you.
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing what you can do. But yes, and I just launched my signature course yesterday. Yesterday.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. I knew this was a work in worship. It is like, okay, this is coming out. So courses are where it's at. It's so fabulous. And if you've got all this knowledge, why not share it?
Yeah, and no, that's just a great way to get the message out because I feel like the best stylists, and I have a great network of stylists now that I know, and we bounce ideas off of each other worldwide. It's amazing. But the best stylists are just like what you said, like we care about what's inside, letting that glow come out, letting that brilliance and radiance of every person that we work with come out. It's not just telling you what to wear, it's more educational than that. And there's so much more to do with the emotion and the psychology of style that goes into it, more than I ever would have imagined. So that's really what my program is, 12 weeks, and it's a lot of mindset work, which
I
you know,
love this.
but mindset work to get that set straight, and then learning kind of the basics of style and all of that too. But it's all tied together, and there's some group coaching involved too. So it's super fun. It's pre-recorded content as well as bi-month or every other week we meet.
Oh my goodness. Okay, how do people find your course? Where do they go? And where do they go to contact you to work with you?
My website is realstylereallife.com. So it's all together, realstylereallife.com. And then
And real is an REAL, friends. Don't think Instagram reels.
realstylereallife.com.
There we go. So you can
And that's
purchase.
also my Instagram handle.
Oh, perfect. And
Yeah.
honestly, follow Tina. She's wonderful. I love her sense of humor. I love her sense of style, but you'll appreciate the truly how she radiates light. You can tell people who are light workers in this world, and you're definitely one of them, Tina. And I knew it the minute I met you. And I'm so grateful that event brought us together, gosh, probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful. Maybe four, because that was COVID, but for sure 4 years ago we met. And I love that we've stayed connected and we've cheered each other on. And I'm just so excited to see what's next and how many more courses are going to roll out. But if you are looking for a fabulous find, you come find Tina because she's the real deal. So thank you for joining us. And we always end with this question, Tina, is our podcast is called Meet Me in the Penthouse. So what does it mean to you to be living in the penthouse?
Mm. To be living in the penthouse, I think the penthouse is where you feel at peace. I think it's where you feel joy and open and free and happy. It doesn't have much to do with the material nature of the penthouse. It's where you have peace.
The peaceful penthouse. That's
A
how
peaceful
that
penthouse.
is how we are going out, friends. And like I always say, like, subscribe, share this with your friends, give us a 5-star rating on Apple. And we love to hear your comments. We love to hear who you would think, like, who do you think we should interview and who would you love to see on the show? Yes, Oprah. Yes, same, top of my list, but Tina was right behind Oprah. So I
Wow.
I love that. So you guys keep sharing with us. Remember to find us at www.sistersnextdoor.com. And we always have a coaching class. Our wealth frequency is coming up, and we have a really cool women's collaborative coming up in the fall. So
Love it.
thank you so much for joining us, my sweet friend. And I love you. And I'm so
Love you.
grateful for your friendship. And thank you for saying yes and blessing so many people that listen to this. So we'll meet you in the peaceful penthouse.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much, Molly. I appreciate it.
Hey guys, we'd love to have you join our waitlist for our class of You from the Top. There are going to be incredible women who are making incredible, decisive, clear decisions. The energy is fabulous. The view from the top is fabulous, and there's room for you at the top. Go to sistersnextdoor.com and join our waitlist.